Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Ise in Mie Prefecture here in Japan, and we're going to have a look at a brewery who are very highly rated. I've tried a few of their beers on tap, but this is the first time I'm actually reviewing one of their bottled beers, and this is a special edition one. So we're going to Ise Kadoya and we're having a look at their Summit Beer 2016. This is an American Pale Ale at 4% that was brewed specially for the G7 Summit that was held in May 2016 in Ise. So it should be a really nice one. It's got Summit, Centennial and Galaxy hop in it, so it should be quite a nice beer. This one again came highly recommended from Koji at Asahiya liquor store in Taishibashi, Yamaichi, Osaka. Really good beer store, very nice guy, so make sure you check out the Facebook link to his store in the description below. He's got some great stuff there and I'm looking forward to trying this beer. The other Japanese ones he's recommended have been pretty damn good, I have to admit. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from Ise Kadoya. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media, make sure you check that out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel, and if you want to see more Japanese beer reviews in particular, you can either go into my homepage and search for Japan, or you can check out Casey and Eric's channel, Sotogami Akiha Beer. The guys in Tokyo have some really nice videos, so make sure you check them out too. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Ise Kadoya. So these guys are a really quite interesting brewery actually. As I mentioned to you, they're from Ise City in Mie Prefecture, which is in the Kansai region of Japan. The city is kind of dubbed the holy city of the Shinto religion, and it's home to over 200 Shinto shrines, but mainly the kind of well-known one is the Ise Grand Shrine. The city apparently gets about 5 million visitors per year as sort of pilgrims to go and visit all of these shrines, but it's actually a relatively small kind of countryside town of only around 130,000 people, which is very small by Japanese standards. Of course, Japan is a huge country. But the brewery was founded back in 1997 and it's owned by Narihiro Suzuki, who had previously studied microbiology at university, and he runs the company with his wife Chika Suzuki, who does a lot of the work in the company's restaurants. Apparently she really enjoys that. But the roots of Suzuki's family business go back to 1575 when his family started the Kadoya Cafe with the aim of selling the Kinakomochi tea to the Ise pilgrims, and the full company name is now the Nikken Jayomochi Kadoya Honten, and apparently this is one of the longest running companies in Japan. If you go back to 1575, of course, that is pretty impressive. But the brewmaster at the brewery is Masakazu Nakanishi, who joined the company in 1997 after working an office job. Apparently he was on a 3-year contract and the brewery just happened to have an opening at the time he finished, and it worked out quite well. But he had studied fermentation in high school during his agriculture classes, and the brewery apparently were looking for a brewer, and he, as I say, he just kind of fit the bill right away. But he later became brewmaster in 1999, and another instrumental man in running this brewery is Yoshihiro Matsuoka, who actually is the restaurant manager and is the label designer of the brewery as well, and he's known as the walking beer dictionary because apparently he has such a passion for beer, and he's one of these guys who has a ridiculous encyclopedic knowledge apparently. But the brewery import various hops and malts from around the world. They use water from the local Migawa River, and apparently this is filtered through charcoal microfilters to make sure it's extra clean for brewing. But they're apparently very thorough in their quality control, and they've won many awards for their beer to date as well. They own 2 restaurants where you can try the beers. This is the Biyagura restaurant, which is the on-site one of the brew house. The brew house is a really old kind of classic Japanese building. It looks very nice, and they also own the Ise Kadoya Kaikumeten restaurant as well, which is just a little bit up the river from that one, I believe. But they've got a core range of beers, various seasonal beers, and they also produce some cider apparently. They've got soy sauce tamari, which is a thicker type of soy sauce, miso paste, and also kinakomachi, which is the type of tea that I was talking about as well. I think it's a kind of sweet as well. I think you get kinakomachi tea and also the kinakomachi sweets too. But a very interesting brewery. They produce some really good beers, and a lot of them are quite highly rated on Rate Beer. So let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. As I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 4% IPA. American IPA, I should say. It's got Summit hops in it for the bittering hop. It's also got Galaxy from Australia and Cascade from America. So it should be a really nice one for us to have a look at. I'll just let you have a little look at this, at the label of it there. There you can see it's got all the G7 nations on it: Italy, UK, US, Japan, France, Germany and Canada, of course. And the little picture you can see behind that, that is the little peninsula that Ise City is located on. It looks very nice. There you can see some of the stuff on the side. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it looks like it's some kind of international friendship association. It tells you a little bit about the beer on the side there, which I'm guessing is just the stuff like I was telling you about the hops and things that are in this one. But it looks very nice, and you have one of these little code things you can scan with your smartphone too, and there is the Ise Kadoya bottle cap on this one. I'm not sure how clearly you can see that, but it's actually quite a nice looking one. It's kind of like a sort of one of these temple roofs. You can see it there, a very nice little pattern. But let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting for this one. Really looking forward to reviewing my first beer from these guys. It should be very, very nice. So, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out and into the glass. That looks like a really good IPA actually. Some nice head coming up there. We'll just get the last of it out, and there you are. You can smell the nice fruity characters off this one as it comes out, of course. Oh, there's a little bit of sediment still visible in this one. I think maybe my fridge that we have here in the apartment is just a little bit too cold for the beer, so I will need to sort that out because I'm getting a couple of sediment in a few of them. But as you can see, this beer is poured really nicely. There's a finger and a half of a frothy white head there. There's some bigger bubbles around the edge, but as you move into the middle, it's definitely quite frothy. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see it's nice and transparent. You've got that nice nectary amber looking colour for this one. A few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there, but it looks very, very nice. So let's have a look at the aroma for this one. Yeah, that smells really nice actually, quite orangey and citrusy. You can smell a little bit of earthy character just underneath. It definitely has a malt base of kind of caramel, a little bit of biscuity malts, but you can also pick up some of the pale malt that must be in here as well. You can definitely smell that under there. There's a little earthy and slightly herbal hint from the hops as well, but it's got some nice fruity aspects to it. A little bit of orangey citrus in this one. Yeah, definitely a little bit of orangey citrus, maybe a little bit of passion fruit actually, which comes from the Galaxy. But there's a good floral aromatic content as well, which comes both from the Summit and from the Centennial hop that's in this one. A little bit of grapefruit, like I was saying, but yeah, a bit of passion fruit from the Galaxy, a little bit of grapefruit, which is mainly from the Centennial, and there is a bit of orangey citrus in there too, which I believe is another element of the Summit hop. So it should be really quite nice. It smells good, has everything you'd expect from an American IPA. So let's get stuck into this one. So this one is the G7, or the Summit beer 2016 from Ise Kadoya Brewery in Ise, Mie Prefecture here in Japan, brewed for the G7 Summit on the 26th and 27th of May 2016. Kanpai. That's quite nice actually. I can see what they're saying when it's meant to be a session IPA. The malt base on this one, for me, is quite light, but you have exactly what you'd expect. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's much what you'd expect from the aroma, although I was expecting it to be just a little bit more malty, but it's got a nice hoppy bitterness to it. These guys, of course, are quite highly decorated in Japan, and quite rightly so. I've tried a couple of their beers on tap. The Imperial Red is lovely, so hopefully I can review that for you sometime. But yeah, that's really nice actually. So you've got quite a simple malt base to this one. In the middle of the palate, you get a little bit of a kind of pale, sort of slightly cardboardy, bready malt that just goes across the middle of the palate. There's a little bit of a kind of grainy, almost biscuity thing going on there. There's a little bit of dryness from the grains in the middle of the palate, but the focus of this beer really is on the hops. You get a tiny little bit of caramel sweetness, but really the flavour is very, very hop forward, and that's what you'd expect from a sort of an American IPA style beer. I'm surprised though that there's an IPA at only 4%, but when it's a session beer, you know, that's what you'd expect. But yeah, this is nice. The fruity character in this beer is interesting. You're getting a little bit of the orange citrusy fruit. If you just go behind the front curve of the tongue there, you're getting a little bit of the orangey citrusy fruit. Like I mentioned, that comes from the summit. There's a little bit of grapefruit in there as well, which mainly would come from the Centennial. And maybe there is a little bit of the passion fruit, which is a kind of characteristic of the Galaxy hop actually. I remember the Australian Galaxy hop just having this quite distinctive passion fruity character. That's coming out a bit more later in the aftertaste. It's quite a dark grapefruit character that's dominating the palate on this one, but there's the citrus, the orangey citrus in there as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, that's nice. Just pay attention to that little bit behind the front curve of the tongue there, where these fruity, juicy characters are coming out. They're quite quick to disappear, and then the focus kind of goes on a little bit more to the hops. It's really the sort of floral and aromatic aspect that really dominates the palate on this one. If you go to the back corners at the side of the palate where the hops will come out, there's a tiny little bit of earthiness in there, but that's quite minimal. As you come further forward, it becomes more and more floral and aromatic. It's not quite resinous, it's a dark floral aromatic character in there. There's perhaps a little bit of spiciness to it, and I think that's the Summit hop. It has a little bit of that spicy aromatic character coming out. Centennial has it a little bit as well. As you go around the front curve of the palate though, it's a bit lighter and grassy, and maybe there's even a tiny little bit of a herbal kind of flavour to the hop in this one as well, but really the dominating part of the flavour for this one is the floral aromaticity, and of course that's the characteristic of pretty much of all of the hops in this one. They do have their own different aspects of floral aromaticity, and it works out quite nicely. You know, if you want a nice sessionable IPA, then certainly you've got that with this one. It's a nice 4% IPA. The one thing I would say about this one is maybe the body could be a little bit thicker, but you know, it's nice, it's sessionable. If you like your floral aromatic beers, you certainly will enjoy this one, and it has a little bit of the juicy fruity character that you expect from the hops that are in this one too. Yeah, to me, it strikes me as being more of an American pale ale rather than an IPA, and it just because of the malt base. The malt base, like I said, is very, very subtle in this one. If it was an IPA, it would have a bit more presence from the malt base. You would have a little bit more of a caramel sweetness, but when it's only 4% alcohol, you don't quite get the same thing. Usually you put more malt in, and you put a heavier amount of malt into this one to make it an IPA. The difference between the pale ale and the IPA, remember, is to do with the hops to malt ratio. And the IPA has more malt in it, which is why it's usually higher in alcohol content. And then you've got the double IPA and the barley wine as you get progressively higher. But yeah, overall, it's a nice beer, and it's quite sessionable. If you like your floral aromatic beers, you will certainly enjoy this one, and it's interesting to see this sort of hop combination that they've got going on here. In terms of the flavour, or the mouthfeel of this one, I should say, it's quite light-bodied, maybe pushing the mid-bodied category a little bit, but for me, it really is quite light. The carbonation is quite active on this one. It's got a sort of middle ground carbonation, a good little bit of a prickle to the tongue, but that helps the bitterness in this beer. As I said, the flavour is quite floral and aromatic, and that bitterness is really helped in making the beer sessionable with that carbonation. It's a nice session beer. It would be a good summer ale, this one, actually, but as I say, it's a limited edition, so maybe you're not going to find it again. There's a little bit of sweetness from the malt base in there, but really not a lot. Like I said, it's more of a light kind of bready thing that's going on, and there's a little bit of juicy fruity character as well. But overall, it's a pretty solid beer. As I said, I really want to try the Imperial Red from these guys. I've tried it on tap before. I want to review it for you on the channel here, but this is a very, very solid beer once again from Ise Kadoya, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. It would be nice to try it on tap and see if it gets just a little bit of a thicker mouthfeel, because I think that's one thing that it's just missing slightly, is a bit of a thicker mouthfeel. But overall, it's a very, very solid beer, and I wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. This one is definitely for people who enjoy the big floral aromatic bitterness that you can get from some of these American hops. So check this one out if you get the chance. It is a limited edition, so I'm not sure you're going to find this one, but if you do get the chance, I would say try something from Ise Kadoya Brewery. I really recommend the Imperial Red Beer, and apparently their oyster stout is very good as well, but I can't eat seafood, so unfortunately I won't ever be able to try that one. But yeah, another really good beer from here in Japan. As always, let me know your own thoughts on this brewery and the particular beer in the comments section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things. Make sure you go and check out Casey and Eric's channel as well, and Asahiya Liquor Store in Taishibashi, Yamaichi, Osaka. Really good selection of beer there, like I said. But thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, Slanji just now, Kampai, and we will return to Ise Kadoya Brewery from Ise City in Mie very, very soon. I really like their beers, and I will be reviewing more of them. Until the next time, Slanji just now.